Most of us would love to win the lottery, but the odds are stacked hopelessly against us, to the point that it's hardly worth buying a ticket, unless it's simply considered entertainment. Still, some people have beaten the odds and won massive jackpots, but many of these winners have ended up looking more cursed than blessed. 4 out of every 10 lottery winners aren't any happier than before they won the lottery. Lottery winners are actually more likely to file for bankruptcy than the average person, and are more likely to develop a drug addiction. If you win the lottery, you're more likely to end up divorced, and even more likely to end up dead. To help you succeed where others have failed, we've compiled a list of 10 things you should never do under any circumstances if you win the lottery. Number 10 is having a stash of illegal substances inside your home. Or you could end up like a North Carolina woman who won a staggering $188 million Powerball jackpot. When local police showed up to arrest her roommate for violating the terms of his parole, the officers believed they smelled pot. Obtaining a search warrant and found marijuana and paraphernalia in the house. The 26-year-old mother of 4 was cited and arrested for possession, proving that even if you're lucky, you're not above the law. Number 9 is throwing your lottery ticket into the trash. Or you could end up like one Massachusetts couple who threw away a $1 million winning lottery ticket. While the two realized their mistake and dug their ticket out of the garbage, you may not be so lucky. So it goes without saying, keep track of your winning lottery ticket. Number 8 is telling everyone you know. If you win millions of dollars, most people immediately feel the urge to brag to every last person they know. The trouble is that telling everyone you know before you collect your winnings puts you in danger, and in more ways than just one. Lottery winners have ended up kidnapped, flooded with emails and phone calls, begging for cash, scammed, and even murdered. Number 7 is giving your winning lottery ticket to someone else to redeem for you. Sometimes people can be too trusting, even if the stakes involve hundreds of millions of dollars. Such as when an undocumented immigrant in Georgia gave his winning lottery ticket to his boss, with the promise that they would split the cash. Instead, though, his employer took the money and ran. Number 6 is bringing your winnings to a strip club. If you try this, you could end up just like Jack Whitaker, who brought $500,000 to a strip club and was robbed of $545,000 in the same strip club. Number 5 is believing that you are the best person to manage millions of dollars in assets. If you go from living a paycheck to a multimillionaire, does it seem likely that you will know the best things to invest in and the best financial planning strategies? Some lottery winners have taken investment advice from naive relatives and their friends who are both unlikely financial experts. Many lottery winners who took their financial matters into their own hands ended up in bankruptcy as a reward for their initiative. Number 4, don't assume you're a genius at business. Chances are that if you hadn't started any businesses before you bought a winning lottery ticket, you probably hadn't already started one for good reasons. For instance, Ken Proxmire, a tool grinder from Michigan, won $1 million in the 1977 Michigan lottery and used his winnings to indulge his inner entrepreneur. He opened up a chain of stores with his winnings. Several years later, his business failed, and Proxmire was left with $100,000 in debt. Number 3 is not paying your taxes. In the United States, your lottery winnings are taxable, but for some lottery winners, taxes are just too much of a bother. For instance, one man in Pennsylvania ended up in prison after trying to avoid paying taxes on his lottery winnings. This probably doesn't need to be said, but pay your taxes. Number 2 is giving all of your winnings away. The worst example of this is probably the wig maker Janet Leigh, who blew her fortune on charity and political donations. Her lottery winnings bought her a reading room named after her at Washington University's law school and millions of dollars in contributions to the Democratic Party. Eventually, after a decade-long generosity spree, she filed for bankruptcy. And number 1 is spending all of your winnings. By far, the biggest downfall of lottery winners comes from simply spending. They often quit their jobs and don't use their money to bring any meaningful investment income. Instead, they go on spending sprees which will inevitably drain every last penny of their winnings and put them back to square one.